You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in beautiful Northport, Florida. I hope it's beautiful there because I'm currently sitting in Las Vegas. And I will not expand on my trip down other than to say I'm doing COVID tests. How about that? So I was the lucky devil that got to ride in the car and shiver and shake all the way to Las Vegas. But I'm currently feeling much better. Took a 5-mile walk today and literally kicking its butt. And that is the truth. So anybody out there that has COVID, take a piece of information and get up off your feet and make your lungs breathe. Get it out of there. So I've got two really dear friends and special guests in the house. I've got Billy Carlson and Frank Lama. How you doing there, Frank? I'm going to start with you first.
I'm doing excellent. I hopefully you feel better, John. It sounds like you're getting better, so that's a good thing.
Well, I don't know that anybody could have told if I didn't tell them. How about that?
I believe it's true. I believe it's true. We wouldn't be able to tell.
Absolutely. How you doing there, Billy?
Doing well. It's been a busy couple months with softball outside of work. It's finally winded to an end, but yep, everything's going pretty well.
Awesome. So we have talked a lot about the recycling program and the benefits that, and I truly brag about our program as a citizen, as a radio show host. I brag about us nonstop. So, Frank, I'm going to tee this up for you first with a couple of good questions. Is there anybody up and down our coast that does recycling better than we do?
I don't believe so.
Is there anybody on the other coast that does it better than we do?
I don't believe that at all.
Well, gee, could we cover the whole state?
I think we do it the best. I think we do it the smartest. I think we do it the cleanest.
And I'm going to say it just because people are joining in. But
okay. Yeah, and this year, John, one thing, our contamination rate right now is at 3. This year we only had 3 tons. So think about that. We collected about how many tons did we collect so far this year? I'll be able to tell you that. We are at 3321.53. So we're at 3,321.53 tons that we collected so far this year. And out of that, 3 tons were contaminated. So that's a pretty good ratio there.
Well, and you know, here's the thing. When you get 3 guys on a radio show talking about the recycling program with excitement, there is a reason for that. I'm going to say this. The world is driven by the almighty dollar. Everything is about the dollar. Every move that's out there is about the dollar. Isn't our recycling program bringing dollars back to us taxpayers?
Yes. Well, that would be last year. So let's talk about last year. Last year, we made $389,000 in recycling. Okay. And that's what we pocketed. Okay. We paid over $2 million, the material going to the landfill. So that 389,000 went towards that.
So now wait, landfill is one thing.
Yep.
And let's talk about this for a minute. Landfill is one thing and recycling is another. And doing the recycling program to the ultimate gives us money back towards paying off that bill up top.
Correct.
Which is the landfill dollar.
Which it did. Yep. Correct. Which it did last year. Yep.
Who controls the landfill cost?
Sarasota County.
And does that number stay flat?
No. Now it has been flat. Last year was 48.34, and it's been like that for about 20 years. It's been flat, and they're finally starting to increase their prices. This year was 51.48. Next year we're looking at 54, $1.86, and it could be possibly $1.45 more a ton besides that. So think about that. That's a ton per ton.
And how many tons did we do again?
We do about 55,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it sure is. Now think about it. So our recycling, when people say we're not making any money, which we have, we made money in the past 3 years, but this year with the hurricane, when the hurricane happened, you have to remember the recycling, a lot of it didn't go to the recycling center. A lot of it was contaminated because everybody was using their trash cans, the recycling cans as trash cans, and we had to take that to the landfill. So the first couple of months, things weren't too good, but now the market's starting to swing around in our favor. And right now we're paying $23.49 a ton for recycling. So think about that. We're paying $23.49 a ton for recycling. That number depends on how good our quality is and our share, which that number is starting to come down, where the landfill is always going to be the same. It's going to be 51.48, 54 and change, whatever it's going to be.
So I want to ask this, and
Yep.
If we did not have a recycling program, if we didn't have it, let's say we're waste management, we really don't care. Okay.
Right.
Because
Yep.
on the grand scale of things, when you look at a company like Waste Management, their job is to collect and turn in, collect and
Yep.
turn in. And they don't care about contamination rate. They don't care about those things. They're there to hopefully collect what people deem recyclable. So they really don't make a profit back, do they?
Well, it depends on the contract, because the contract could state that they get paid for whatever they pick up. So it's win or lose if they do get a share of the material, if they don't. So it depends on the contract.
Yeah, but their contamination rate, do they have anything like we have where they separate out?
They probably do somewhere down their line. Yep,
All right.
probably do. And they probably take whatever material they can. They'll go ahead and sell it at a profit, not give it back to the county or city, whoever they're dealing with. So it depends on the contract, how you set your contract up. The good thing with us and our recycling center, the people we work with, they're great. I mean, we're like partners, so we're in this together.
Well, and talk now about the separation and the importance of that for taxpayers to understand. And you talked about the 3%.
Yeah.
What if we were at 13%?
Were we at 13%?
If we were at 13% instead of 3%.
Well, we could be a lot more than that if we mix it together. It could be 23% instead. But
all right. So what happens then if we were let's say our recycling program is at 10% or 12% instead of the 3%? Are we still getting that same amount of money back?
No. And 3%, listen, 3 tons out of 3,300 is pretty incredible. So I don't believe anybody's getting 3 tons out of 3,300. So that's pretty incredible numbers.
And that's why
the way we do it. That's because the way we do the system, John. So you think about it, the paper and cardboard, there's like 0% in there. It's so easy. Now, what we're working on, of course, is the other end, the commingle, because people don't understand the number system. 1 through 5 and 7 is what we collect. People throw in a lot of number 6s, a lot of unnumbered plastics. Plastics, the unnumbered plastics they're tricky. They look like it's recyclable material. You throw it in, and it isn't.
And that's where we have people trying to catch it before it goes through and gets recycled, correct?
Yep, correct. Plastic bags, of course, they're a main issue, but that's a state thing. So
and I know as many times as I know that we've been out, and Billy, I'll pull you in real quick. We're very active in the community trying to get this information out, aren't we?
For sure. For sure. So we have, an active social media campaign where I would say probably the bulk of our solid waste posts on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and things are recycling in nature, because we want to emphasize, and as we've said in the past, we want to emphasize education. We're not here to scold people. We're not here to, smack them on their knuckles with a ruler. we're here to educate them. And part of that is going out to the elementary schools. Last Monday, we were at Toledo Blade talking to kindergartners about the importance of recycling. This past weekend, we were at Atwater Elementary for their Earth Day event to talk to kids about recycling, and we'll be at Lamarck later this week, to help educate, because we feel like if we get them young and we educate them while they're younger, that'll help grow the program. And education is the biggest part of it for us, especially in my position, because some people just aren't. I spoke to a few parents on Saturday that just weren't familiar with our program. They're new to the area. Maybe they live in Port Charlotte, and Waste Management has one way of doing things. And so I had a couple parents ask me, hey, why do we separate? Why is it that we do it that way and not the way Waste Management does? And so we emphasize, well, when you all smash it all in one can, you can pretty well bet that most of that cardboard is going to be not usable material, not recyclable material, whether it's fluids from the plastic bottles, glass bottles, aluminum cans. I don't know how many people actually rinse their cans and bottles out when they're done. But you talk about that getting mixed in with the cardboard. You talk about crushed glass getting mixed in with the cardboard. It's instant contamination. It's no good. So I try to explain this to folks, when they've got their questions and things like pizza boxes that nobody's sure of. And like we've said before, hey, if the top is clean, rip the top off. We'll take that and take the bottom part with the cheese or the oil and toss it. Anytime anybody's got questions, they can feel free to reach out. But my email is open. They can comment on our posts about recycling. We're at the newcomers days. We're at these school events. So we're very active. I think next month we've got a talk coming up with our friends over at Island Walk. So we're eager to get out and talk to the community and help educate, because we do feel it's an important aspect of what we do. Like we've already been talking about, the recycling is one of the few things we as a city do that can bring money back to us or kind of help us reduce the cost of disposal.
Correct.
So I'm going to slide over to Frank, because Frank's head is like a bobble doll right now.
That's correct.
It's
right in the head.
It's going up and down, not back and forth. So we're not taking turns.
Yeah,
but
Johnny, I thought about what you said, and you said that last, what happens if we didn't recycle at all? So if we didn't recycle at all, and last year with adding 7,900 tons of recycling onto the Sarasota County landfill bill, would have been another $406,000, almost $407,000. So it's all about money. It's all about, that's why we recycle. That's why we recycle.
And we've used this before. What's the cost of a vehicle?
Just went up to $470,000.
So if more people,
everything's going up.
All right. So how? And I'm going to go at this different. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't. What is the percentage of people that recycle right now correctly in our city? And I'm asking that. It's a trick question, because you can't do it by address, but per consumption, do you think we're at 25% recycle program goal? Or, our goal is to much higher, I'm sure, tonnage wise.
Right.
But where are we at now? Where do you think we could be? That's kind of, or should be, with recycling.
Right. Well, our set out rate is real well. If you look at all the containers to the curb, our set out rate is probably between 90 and 95%, which is very good. Now, what's inside that container, that's a different story. Now, when you talk about paper and cardboard, because there's very little contamination, you're looking at 90, 95% being perfect. When it comes to the commingle, I would say, Johnny, about 80% do the right thing. Okay. That's possibly even between 80 and 85.
So how many?
80 and 85% of the city.
So we're only at 5% non-set out, right?
That's what I would say. Yes. Yep.
Now, out of that, 95. Let's talk about the 95 because
Yep.
that 95 is participating.
Yep.
At 95, do you think that there's still recycled material in that 95% waste?
Yes.
So how do we get them to switch the tonnage where we lose money to where we make money?
And Billy, go ahead and tell John what we're doing.
So again, this is part of our conversation on education, and I think about like the example I gave, pizza boxes. A lot of people just assume because there's pizza in it, well, I can't recycle this box. And so that's one of those things that that could be potentially recyclable, that people are just automatically tossing in the garbage can. Right? Now, if we can sway that a little bit, we can get a little more cardboard in there. Things like glass jars, pasta sauce jars, things like that people assume, well, it's dirty, I'm not recycling this, I'm going to throw it away. If you take 20 seconds, rinse it out, now it's recyclable. We have our mobile app, the Recycle Coach app, that actually we had a national survey they did, and they tailored it to our local municipalities and everything. And we were at about, I believe, 70% pass rate. So again, it's education. It's understanding. It's helping people understand this product that you thought is actually garbage might actually be recyclable, and these are the steps you can take for that. And this product that you thought was recyclable, well, this one's actually garbage, and this is what you can do with that, or this is how you can turn it from garbage into recycling. Like with the pasta sauce example there, if it's full of chunks of tomato and red sauce, we can't recycle that. Take 20 seconds, rinse it out. Now we can. So that's the biggest part of swaying those numbers, I think, is education, and it's something that we're constantly working toward. And then to a lesser degree, it's stoking the flame inside people to care enough to recycle and recycle the right way.
Gee, I
Billy,
wish.
also
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Johnny. Bill, also talk about what Mario's doing. I mean, thank you to our commissioners. I mean, they gave us a planner scheduler. He's going through garbage totes. He's going through recycling totes. So we have somebody out there doing that this year. That's
Absolutely.
because our commissioners care. So
Absolutely. And so that Mario he's been a recycling driver for us for 5 years. Actually, just came up on his 5-year anniversary recently, and he got moved over to planner scheduler. And so part of his job is he gets out in front of the recycling trucks and in front of their routes to inspect cans and see what people are doing right, see what they're doing wrong. Part of that aspect is he can help educate the residents. Maybe they're new, they're not familiar with the program. You can kind of explain to them how it works. Again, if he sees stuff in the garbage can that he knows is recyclable, he can tell them, hey, you can put this in recycling. This material is not recyclable, it goes in your garbage can. And the other aspect of that is, he can kind of get back to me with information. Hey, I'm seeing a lot of this. Maybe we can put something out and educate residents on this. It seems a lot of people are unsure. So that's another tool for us out in the field, getting a hands-on approach and seeing what people are doing with their recycling.
And the good thing about also what Mario's doing is that we didn't do this in the past because we didn't have enough employees, but now, like I said, thank you to the commissioners. We have Mario out there. What Mario does now is we have about 40 new homes each week, and he's going out to each one of them, discussing exactly how our program works. So already starting to be, I wish we could have did this many years ago, but now we can. And I think it's going to make a huge difference in the end.
Well, and I'm going to say something, and I want you to run with this, Frank. If everybody thought about a $20 bill every time they put something in the recycling bin, that would be an incentive, cash incentive, that the city could throw out there and say, every time you throw one away, we'll credit you $20. Now, if you did that, you would have 100% participation.
Imagine that.
But the funny thing, if people realized, and this is why I love talking about this, if you want to save the $20 a month or a week, however you look at it, to make yourself think differently. We are a different city across the board with this. We have to retrain people that come here and just believe trash is trash.
Right.
It's not.
Yep.
Every time you do the right thing in our city, we make money and it keeps our taxes down. If you want to be a beneficial of that, don't you have to participate at a higher level to keep? I mean, if the number keeps climbing at the landfill,
Yep.
and truthfully, come on, the nature lovers, be on board with this. Get this information out to people, because truthfully, we don't want to fill up our landfills with all this stuff anymore. We've got technology working for us. We've got people working for us. We've got a city that's embracing it. And there's dollars coming in from what used to go into a landfill. Frank, how vital is that in what you're proposing? And how many people wish that they had this program out there city-wise?
Well, there's quite a few out there that wish they had this program, but it's easier for us because we are starting out being so small, where other counties and cities are so much larger. They'll have like 125,000 homes there, 150,000. I probably wouldn't try to do it in something like that. With us here, when we started this program many years ago, we were at maybe 25,000 homes. So now we're at like 38,000. So it was easier for us to do it beginning stages. And as we grow, it'll just be more profit for the city and keeping our costs down. That's a whole major thing. But it's easier for us because of that. And a lot of cities in other counties to do that, when you're doing 125 or 150,000 homes, it would be difficult. It would be a big expense up front, and here it wasn't. So,
guys, would that be a benefit of living in Northport?
It sure would be. It's a benefit because you have the best solid waste department right here. That's why.
And on top of that, everything that you guys have done to make yourself more efficient, how much tax burden have we had on that?
Explain what you mean there, John.
The tax burden from building all of the location where we separate everything out. So we're separating everything out, and we've not paid for that. We've not paid for new vehicles with any of this money. We've not done anything, right? Have we?
Yeah, we've spent. Of course, we need new vehicles to pick up the material.
Have we paid for the recycling center?
Yeah, that was like 5 years ago.
That's my point.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's only been nothing but good things. Only good things. So.
All right. Yep. So even with the new member coming on board.
Yes, with Mario. Yep.
So, and I'm looking at this like business wise, okay? Because city is business. You've got to control spend. Correct. When you're controlling spend and adding employees, your cost should go up, but putting him in the field like you want him, is he not going to almost pay for himself?
Oh, he's done that already. Correct.
Explain.
He's done it already. I mean, he's already listen, if you don't recycle right here in Northport, okay, we're gonna be at your doorstep. We will be there, and he will tell you what you're doing wrong. So that right off the bat is a good thing. That's a good thing.
Tell me about that position. I explain that to listeners right now, because I think that's vital.
Yeah, we're never going to tell you where he's going to be, but he'll go out there and he'll do similar to a street at a time. So he'll go out there and do a whole street. He'll look inside. If you're good, you're not getting a little notice at your front door. But if you aren't, he's there to educate you. He's not a recycling police. He's nothing like that. A lot of times what he'll do is he'll place a yellow sticker on the container, and then we will get it picked up by the garbage guy. The recycling guy won't even touch that. Won't even touch it. You're not going to contaminate all our good recycling with that. So that's what's happening, John.
Wow. So is that's going to save a lot of manpower even at the recycling center.
It does. And listen, it doesn't contaminate the rest of the material because you're not doing the right thing. Do the right thing. That's all we're asking you to do. It's 1 through 5 and 7. If it doesn't have a triangle, 1 through 5 and 7 with a number in it, don't put it in there. It goes in a black lid garbage container.
So I'm going to say this. Taxpayers need to listen. Taxpayers need to listen.
Yeah. And John, especially when you're paying $23.49 a ton right now for recycling, and you're paying $51.48 a ton for garbage. You're talking a $28 difference. And that recycling number is going down where we could make more money.
And the funny thing is we're adding people in to check to make more money. That's what we're doing. But we're doing it because our citizens are not paying attention and doing it the right way.
Right.
But I got to tell you, I got to believe that there's people out there that are going to be up in arms because we're doing more on the recycling side versus the trash side. And they're going to start social media campaigns and do all this BS that they always do with being uneducated. Okay. Yeah. So please talk about the fact that we've built a center, paid for itself. We're adding an employee that's going to help us, and you already said paid for itself.
Yep.
Okay. If we're doing all these things, if we had, let's say, 50% more participation, more, that means
added a trash can. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Aren't we decreasing our potential tax burden?
Of course you are. Of course. Boy, would that be a pleasure. Would that be a pleasure?
The only city that you can do that is Northport.
Yep.
Makes us special. Makes us, listen, we're number one. Start paying attention to us.
Yeah.
And I say this with very kind feelings to everybody else because you know what? When their taxes go up and when everything happens for a good reason, to them, and I loved how you explained it. We're an infant when we talk about city. We're an infant stage. Okay.
Yep.
Landfill for waste management will not go down because when waste management needs more money, they're gonna get it from the taxpayers.
That's right.
And it won't matter what if the landfill rate goes up, waste management rate is I don't see them working that out where they don't make more money too.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're in it for a profit. They're in it to make money. I mean, they give us a price what it is. And we imagine if I was waste management of the world and I'm here with Northport and my cost from the landfill is 55. When I get that cost to pass it on to our citizens, do you think I'm going to pass it off at 55? No. I might pass it off at 57 so I can make $2 a ton, but that's just not us. That's why we're city-run garbage, and that's why whatever the cost is from the landfill, we pass it on to our residents exactly the way it is.
We are, you guys both have educated not just me, but a lot of people out here. Okay, and the truth of the matter is that I as a realtor, I'm not allowed to guide you where to live. I can certainly talk about trash. Okay. Trash is non-offensive to anyone. Let's just do it the correct way. I even say that when people are putting stuff into a recycle bin, I'm like, that doesn't go there. Even waste management, which is that they had a way to get information out like this, I'm sure that they would love their percentage to drop. Okay. And not use that money the way they have to use it. But, their incentive, like you said, their incentive is to collect it up. And depending on the contract, if they do it the right way, an end result, that's money in their pocket.
Yep.
Well, think about that. I just described to you the system. If the contract was written where Waste Management made money off of your recycle material. We have a city telling you we're bringing it back into our budget.
Right.
That doesn't happen anywhere else.
Right. Right. And think about it, John. That 389,000 we made last year would have been in someone's pocket, but no, it went against our over $2 million that we owed the landfill. So that's where it went.
What are there any frustrations that you have other than the separation? But is there something that you really want people to hear, Frank?
Frustration. Let's see. I mean, I really have no frustration with the people, and people do the best they can. A lot of them they're not really educated. They like the unnumbered plastics. When it comes to the commingle, it's very difficult. You really have to look and watch what you're doing. My wife, she always says, I'll be sitting on the couch. She'd be like, "Hey, is this recyclable? Hey, is that recyclable?" She's always asking me, is it recyclable or not? And I tell her, listen, just look at the number. Unnumbered, look at the number 1 to 5 and 7. If it's good, then it goes in the recycling. But
the
frustration. Go ahead, John. I'll tell you more about frustration. It's just it's the people that say don't recycle. It's not worth it. I don't get where they're and hold on. We're not making any money on recycling. Who's saying that? I have no idea. I just can't believe it. I had an email today from a young lady, and I don't know where they're getting this information from. They should give me a call. It's not true. Recycling is making money, and it's getting better. That frustrates me.
Yeah,
They never talk about the garbage ads. They always talk about recycling.
It's funny because we've done all these shows, and we've never used the word trash as a money maker. So there's an expenditure that's called trash, and there's a profit that's called recycle. I don't know how people don't understand. Recycle is profit, trash is a loss. And that's the truth. If it was your bank statement, every time the trash truck goes by, just throw them $100. Every time the recycle truck goes in, throw yourself $100. Which one do you want to do? True. It's a true statement. So we need to do a better job. But here's a question for you. And I just thought of this, and I don't know if it's something you guys have contemplated or not. We put yellow tags and stuff on top of the trash cans as a notification. Why can't we do something creative with a sticker for the top of a recycle can that says what goes in it?
Yeah, we could do that. Yep.
If we had that on top of the can, they're reading it before they throw it in.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good, at least for people who are paying attention.
Yeah. And John, that's a good point to bring up. Before we did this program, I did look into that. They do have lids out there that tell you exactly what belongs in there and what doesn't. They were very expensive, but the problem is after a year, they start fading away. That was the issue why we stood away from that.
So the stickers fade.
That was it's not a sticker. It's if our recycling container right now has an emblem on it, which is like embroidered into it.
Yeah.
So they have one that's out there that basically on a lid, it tells you the do's and don'ts. Very nice, very expensive, but very nice. They could do it inside the lid. But the problem is that it fades with the sun, and it's a waste of money. So that's why I kind of stood away from that. Now, from what you're saying about having another sticker, a recycling sticker on there, we could do that. That's cheap, and we can do something like that. So we'll definitely do that, John.
Well, and here's I'm because we have this new position that can be expanded upon. Well, those trash cans that he's going out and doing this check on,
those
are the ones you get a sticker to. So you're really targeting your market with is it Mario?
Yes.
He's already
Mario
there.
Vendetti.
He's already there. He's going to not just say, hey, listen, for a teachable moment, this is, but this will get you used to the steroid on top, and it will be your guide so that you can get used to doing that.
Right. I gotcha. Yep. And Johnny, he does give out guides. Sorry, you there, John?
Okay.
You break it up. You there? So, I mean, he does give out a guide. It's not a sticker, but when you do something like that, he'll put the guide up by your front door on your front door. So, a door knocker similar to.
Awesome. All right.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, I mean, because it's all about education. We're not the recycling police. It's all about education. We want people to be educated what to put in the correct container.
You know, simply put, if we do our job the right way, can the city make more money?
Well, remember, besides the city making more money, it's the city would pay less. Pay less. That's the whole thing. So that's why, remember, if you're doing 55,000 tons of garbage, you're going to pay $3 million. If you're doing 55,000 tons of recyclable, you're only going to pay like 1.5. So you just saved 1.5 million. So that's how important it is to make sure we are recycling and not putting everything in the trash. It's common sense. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that.
And before Mario,
yep,
we didn't have
me.
that there. So that was
Johnny. It was kind of me. I went out there and did it.
Right.
But now Mario's out there full time though.
All right. So you talk about the policing, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
We haven't really had anyone out on the streets other than you doing that. Our recycle drivers, I'm positive, would like to have had time to check each one before they dump it, but there's no possible way to do that.
Yeah, and correct. And the only time they really catch that if you have plastic bags sticking out or something like that. That's the only time they'll catch that.
And the funny thing is, if we this is not possible because the tonnage, but imagine if we were able to go through a trash can and before we dumped it, pulled it out. You know, there are. I can't imagine how much more cardboard we would have if people would take every piece of cardboard before it got contaminated and just put it in the trash, not the trash, the recycle bin, the appropriate one.
Yeah. And
do it the right way. And we here are different again from other areas because I gotta tell you, my son lives in Cuyahoga Falls. I'm gonna pick on him a little bit, okay? And it's not picked because guess what? They've been there for decades. They're not a new city. They're doing their thing. They're trying to keep their taxes down. They're trying to work it out number-wise. We're new. That's an advantage. I agree with you. But when you take contamination out of one container that's got soda cans and all kinds of other stuff mixed in, and you throw cardboard in with it, if anything is stained with soda or coffee or anything that somebody would throw in there, are we catching that and pulling it out? Pretty much.
Well, the good thing about that is we don't have to worry about that. That's why we don't mix it together. That's why we keep it separate. But if I was, once you have material like that, if you have soda or any kind of broken glass or any kind of plastic shards in a cardboard, in any kind of cardboard, they're not going to use it. It's going to be garbage.
But that's what they deal with at Waste Management.
And listen, and not even that, they might not throw it in the garbage. They might get that all together. But when the goes to, you're going to have somebody that's going to want to buy the bale. They're going to look at it and they're going to say, okay, instead of giving you a price of $100 a ton, I'm going to give you $10 a ton because of the shape it's in. It just depends, you just won't make as much money. It does. It hurts.
And
it hurts.
And the beauty, I'm sure there are companies out there that will take that $10 a ton.
Oh yeah.
And to not have to with that.
Yeah. Yep.
It just, we talk about this because there's a value. There's a value. There's the right thing to do in starting to recycle. That's a great thing because the less we put in to our ground, the better off we are.
Right, and the less material, of course, that you cut down or whatever you have to do to make new material for recycling, for aluminum cans and, taking the trees down. It's just crazy. I mean, some of the things, that's why you want to recycle every bit that you can instead of us using material.
All right, so I'm going to stay there for a second because that's a really different approach to an eye-opening moment and maybe opening a mind up. What kind of square footage does it take for a landfill? How many acres?
Oh, it's huge. The one in the county is huge. I don't know exactly, but I can tell you it's miles. It's miles. Miles. Yep, miles.
We were on our drive to Las Vegas and we went past a landfill. We had to go miles not to smell it. And ironically, their landfill was right up against the freeway. We could actually spot it and know what it was.
Wow.
And it wasn't in a major city. Of course, it wasn't.
Right.
They tend not to do these landfills where people can really visualize them. And they've got them tucked away.
Yeah.
And don't they build housing complexes on them later?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know the way. I don't want to get into that. I don't know the landfills. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you this. I'm from the city of Columbus.
Yeah.
And yes, we did.
Yeah.
We built a housing development.
Yep.
Right on the landfill.
Yeah. Well, if Chuck's on here, if Chuck's listening, Chuck would know. So.
And it's crazy.
But one thing I wanted to bring up, John, you brought up a good point though. Even though the landfill's miles and miles, right? If you think about it, now with the growth everywhere, they're starting to surround that landfill. Where the landfill many years ago might have built it saying no one's ever going to build by us. Now everybody's building by a landfill.
Well, I believe they're building out by the county landfill now.
They're starting to build out there too. Yeah. Beautiful homes. Yep.
It's amazing because I've sold out in that area and I've never gotten a call. I waited on it, but I've never gotten a call. So I guess but we talk about miles. We are miles. Do we have, because we're a city, are we ever, do you think, going to have to put a landfill here?
No, that'll never happen.
That'll
never happen. Now we are, of course, John, we're doing our transfer station. I mean, thank you, commissioners. That's hopefully by 27 we'll be up and running or close to it. So we are building a transfer station here so we can keep our trucks in town instead of them driving back and forth 50 miles round trip 25, 30 times a day. So we are going to have a transfer station here in town. So hopefully
we're kind of, and I say this, we're kind of protected a little bit, maybe, from having a landfill here.
Right, yeah.
But that being said, we're going to have to pay to get rid of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the less we have to pay to get rid of it is why you're doing what you're doing.
Right. Correct.
It's the most important thing that people can hear. And I guess I use example profit And it's not. It's, do you want your taxes lower? Do it the right way. Do you want to pay less money for our trash to go away? It's real simple for people to grasp this if they started looking at their wallet. You know, the next time I'm going to talk about recycling to somebody, I'm just going to say, one truck goes away and it charges you $100. The other one comes back and it gives you $100. Which are
Right. Yeah. And that's the recycling market. I mean, it could be good where you get 100, or it could be you don't get anything, but at least you're not paying 100. I mean, it's just common sense.
Well, the truth of the matter is there's only one of those trucks that bring a profit, and I don't care what it is.
Right.
You know, the one takes, one gives.
Yeah.
So which truck do you want to come to your house? The one that gives you money, or the one that takes money?
And it's funny, John, every truck that leaves this city, we're getting charged. That's it. We're getting charged. Every truck that leaves the city, we're not getting paid. We are paying.
So what happens with our recycling and we've got 9 minutes. So at the recycling center, when we talk about real quick, talk about what he does there, and then talk about what happens with that truck and how that's handled.
Yeah, well, he takes when the material gets there and gets dropped on the ground, he'll go through it. He'll take out all a number of plastics that he sees, bags that he sees, anything visible. He'll go through it. Once he's done doing that, we'll go ahead and put that. I'll go in a dumpster to get picked up by a garbage truck. The garbage truck goes in there at least once a day just to make sure everything's picked up. He'll then transport it into a 53-foot trailer. That trailer goes up to our recycling center up there. And then whatever we get there, normally whatever gets there gets recycled and sorted, and they'll give us a share of that material. So I did find out something that's pretty interesting there. Billy heard this too. A lot of the material, if you ever go shopping for fabric or clothing called Reprieve, I think it's Reprieve, right, Billy?
Sounds right.
Right, Reprieve, right? If you buy any clothing from Reprieve out in the shelves in stores, consider that a lot of that plastic material came from Northport. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it is pretty awesome. But what'll happen is it'll go up there. They'll go ahead and they'll sort it all. They'll get it ready. They'll bale it, and then it ships out. And they have a couple of people who bid on it, and then that's it. They have different people they sell to, but that's it. So it works out great. I mean, it's a success for us. So it works out great.
Before we had the system that we have, were all of our trucks on the road?
Yes.
So
yeah, think about it. Think about it. All the trucks were on the road. They were going 25 miles. And right now we'd be paying $11 more extra a ton because remember, wherever it goes to, they have to take it somewhere. You know, so you'd be paying $11 more a ton right off the bat there. There's a cost to everything. So why would we go ahead and pay people to do that when we have people right here in our town that do it for us and much cheaper? That's it. We're not in it for a profit. That's it. They're in it for a profit. We are not.
You know, it's a really cool conversation to have because it's within a city. Within a city, there's very few opportunities where you can talk about a system that cuts down the cost. I mean, budget is one thing. This is not a budget thing. This is a revenue tax or a revenue expenditure that actually cuts down the expense to the trash.
Right.
Because if you paid that debt, they're both the same, right? They're both the same. One is collecting money. I don't know of another. There isn't another city that's looking at it that way on the scale that we're able to do it. And I love the fact that you said that. We're small enough where we started this thing up. These bigger cities don't have a prayer because the expense to even do the startup, I don't know that they could recoup that money to educate the taxpayers fast enough.
True.
Very
true.
very unique, all around, very, very focused on capturing every part of the revenue stream from trash. Would you agree with that, Frank?
Yes. And very
And
focused.
I've talked to you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And you know, the facts that you're getting things done, getting things done, our commissioners are vital to this program being where it's at today. And their help with your proof of return. Return on investment's a big thing. Everything that you've shown is a return on investment, a return where the city itself can grab a hold of it and go, holy crap, we've got this money coming back in from trash. Go ahead. You want to add anything to that?
No, you hit it right on the head. You hit it right on the head.
You know, we've got about 3 minutes before we are done. Billy, is there anything? Yeah, on Facebook, real talk. Do that for me real quick. Billy, is there anything you'd like to add in?
So, just to give people an idea, this is a real-time example. For the month of March, we had about, I believe, close to 900 tons of recycling. We had what would have been a $77,000 recycling cost, but because of the way we do our recycling, because we sort it out at our recycling center within the city, because we bring them contamination at, like Frank said, 3 tons out of 3,000. So you're not even talking 1%. You're talking less than 1% contamination. Because our material is so clean, we had a rebate of $60,000. And for that recycling effort, we paid a grand total of $16,000, almost $17,000. Yep. Now, when you talk about bringing that to the landfill, you're talking way more. The cost is astronomically more than that. When you're talking about $51 a ton for that tonnage, you're going to end up paying way more than $17,000. And again, this is why we emphasize recycling, why we emphasize clean recycling, why we emphasize education for residents, because getting a rebate back like that is only possible because of the clean material we're bringing in, because of the process we use, and because I feel like maybe we're doing a pretty good job educating residents on the right way to recycle. And again, it's just a matter of tapping into and lighting the fire under those who may not necessarily be motivated to recycle. For the folks that say, "Oh, it's all just trash. Recycling's the big lie. Nobody's buying this stuff." If we can change one mind at a time, every little bit helps.
That's it. One person at a time.
Check out North. North. Get all information off of the report for you. Stop. Get public works. Get your information.
Oh, looks like we lost John.
All right, I think that's the end of the show.
Okay. Well,
Billy, thank you.
Everyone, please visit northportfl.gov/recycling. You can get the facts on what we take there, what we don't take there, and use our Recycle Coach app.
Yep. And Billy, if they ever have any questions, go ahead and just send us an email. We'll love to answer any questions that
For
they
sure.
have.
You can shoot
Yep.
us an email. You can call
Shoot us an
Public
email.
Works customer service, 941-240-8050. They may pass you along to Frank if they're not sure of the answer. They may pass you along to me if they're not sure of the answer. And if we don't know the answer, we will find the answer for you. We've had a couple where we weren't sure, reached out to our partners and they've let us know the answers. We'll find them for you.
Correct.
So please, if you're not sure, don't hesitate to reach out. Message us on Facebook, call us, email us, Recycle Coach app. Everything is out there.
That's right. We're here for you.
All right. And I have
Right.
John calling me.
All right.
So
Thanks, Billy. Thank you, everybody.